a political firestorm has erupted on Capitol Hill, pitting House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries against House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer. The controversy centers on an explosive allegation. Comer claims a document links Jeffries to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, possibly through fundraising activities. Jeffries has fiercely denied any association, launching a blistering counterattack on Comer's credibility and motives. This clash comes as Congress passes the Epstein Files Transparency Act, mandating the release of government documents related to Epstein. The convergence of a personal political attack and a major transparency law has created a charged atmosphere in Washington. In this video, we'll break down the accusation, Jeffries' response, the new law, and what it all means for accountability in Washington. The controversy erupted suddenly, sending shockwaves through Washington and dominating headlines across the country. It all began when Chairman James Comer, a leading Republican on the House Oversight Committee, released a document from a trove obtained from the Department of Justice. The document, according to Comer, suggested that House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries was somehow connected to Jeffrey Epstein through an invitation to a high-profile fundraising dinner. At a press conference packed with reporters, Comer didn't hold back. He publicly accused Jeffries, framing the document as evidence of a potentially troubling link between Democratic fundraising circles and the disgraced financier Epstein. The mere mention of Epstein's name is politically toxic, instantly evoking scandal and suspicion. Comer's move was a calculated attempt to put Jeffries on the defensive, knowing the explosive power of such an association in the public eye. Critics quickly responded, accusing Comer of weaponizing his committee's authority for partisan attacks and using innuendo rather than hard evidence. Supporters, however, insisted that he was simply pursuing legitimate oversight and transparency, arguing that any potential connection deserved scrutiny. The claim instantly became a political flashpoint, igniting fierce debate on cable news, social media, and in the halls of Congress. Both sides dug in, with some calling for further investigation and others dismissing the accusation as a smear tactic. The Oversight Committee's aggressive investigations into Democratic leaders had already set the stage for this high-stakes confrontation, and Comer's latest move only heightened the sense of political drama and urgency. In the end, the true power of the accusation lies not in the details of the document, but in its ability to cast a long shadow of doubt, fueling speculation and controversy, regardless of the underlying facts. Jeffries wasted no time firing back, calling Comer a stone-cold liar and dismissing the accusation as a baseless political smear. He categorically denied ever meeting Epstein, attending any dinner with him, or soliciting money from him. Jeffries argued that even if a consultant sent an invitation, it was without his knowledge or approval. He reframed the controversy as a desperate Republican diversion from real issues facing Americans. By going on the offensive, Jeffries aimed to discredit Comer and shift the narrative away from the document itself. The stakes are high. Any association with Epstein can be politically fatal. Jeffries' forceful response was designed to kill the story before it gained traction. The battle quickly became about Comer's credibility versus Jeffries' integrity. The document at the heart of this storm is reportedly an invitation sent by Democratic fundraisers to Epstein for a dinner featuring Jeffries. It does not prove Jeffries met Epstein, nor that Epstein attended or donated. In high-stakes fundraising, consultants often send mass invitations to wealthy individuals, sometimes without the candidate's knowledge. Jeffries' defense hinges on this. He can't be responsible for every name on a consultant's list. Comer, however, argues the document justifies further investigation into Democratic fundraising and Epstein's network. The document's significance depends on political perspective, either a meaningless paper or a thread worth pulling. This single piece of evidence has become a symbol of the deep partisan divide. The Comer-Jeffries clash erupted just as Congress made headlines by passing the Epstein Files Transparency Act, a landmark piece of legislation that drew overwhelming bipartisan support. In a rare show of unity, lawmakers from both sides of the aisle came together, setting aside deep-seated differences to address a matter that has gripped the nation for years. The new law compels the Department of Justice to release its extensive trove of Epstein-related files. This includes not only the infamous flight logs and contact books, but also a wide array of investigative materials, correspondence, and internal memos that have long been shielded from public view. All of these documents, many of which have been the subject of speculation and rumor, must be made public within 30 days, setting a strict deadline for unprecedented transparency. The act is a direct response to years of mounting public outcry. Across the country, citizens, activists, and journalists have demanded answers, frustrated by the secrecy and lack of accountability that has surrounded the Epstein case since its inception. The passage of the act marks a rare and significant moment of political unity. It reflects not only the deep public distrust in institutions, but also a shared determination among lawmakers to restore faith in the system and respond to the people's demand for truth. Congressman Comer has positioned himself at the forefront of this new era, framing his actions as a commitment to openness and accountability. He insists that the release of these files is essential for justice and for restoring public confidence. Meanwhile, Guagliolio Pau Kau Koring Be So and Dao Buo Quais Chase Fro Shorgay Trau Mar Arnzog remains skeptical, accusing Comer of using the act as a political weapon. He argues that the timing and manner of its implementation risk turning a quest for truth into a partisan spectacle. The debate has become a flashpoint, blurring the line between genuine truth-seeking and calculated political maneuvering. Both sides claim to champion transparency, but their motives are now under intense scrutiny. What began as a fight over a single document has now become intertwined with a historic law that promises to reveal thousands more, potentially reshaping the public's understanding of the Epstein case and those connected to it. With the nation watching closely, the stakes for both political parties and for the American public have never been higher. The coming weeks will test the country's appetite for truth and its willingness to confront whatever may be uncovered. To understand the uproar, you need to know who Jeffrey Epstein was, a wealthy financier who ran a vast sex trafficking network, preying on underage girls for decades. Epstein's story is not just about one man's crimes, but about the web of influence and privilege that allowed him to operate in plain sight for so long. He cultivated an image of sophistication and success, moving seamlessly through elite social circles and using his wealth to gain access to the world's most powerful people. His private jets, sprawling mansions, and exclusive parties were more than just symbols of luxury. They were tools that helped him build a network of connections that spanned politics, business, and entertainment. Despite a 2008 conviction, Epstein maintained powerful connections with politicians, royalty, and celebrities, hosting them at his lavish properties. These relationships weren't just casual acquaintances. They often involved high-profile figures attending his gatherings, sometimes even traveling with him. Many of these individuals have since distanced themselves, but questions remain about the true nature of their ties. Epstein's ability to maintain these relationships, even after his criminal record became public, highlights the extent to which influence and money can shield individuals from consequences. His death in jail in 2019, ruled a suicide, only deepened suspicions and fueled demands for accountability. The circumstances surrounding his death, broken cameras, inattentive guards, and the timing, sparked widespread conspiracy theories and public outrage. Many believe that Epstein's knowledge of his powerful associates made him a target, and that his death was far from straightforward. The public believes Epstein's network shielded him from justice, and exposing it is seen as crucial for his victims and for restoring trust in the system. For many, the case has become a symbol of how the rich and powerful can evade accountability, and why transparency is so important. The demand for answers isn't just about Epstein, it's about the broader issue of institutional failure and the need for reform. Any link to Epstein is politically radioactive, implying either poor judgment or possible complicity. Even a passing association can be enough to spark scandal, ruin reputations, and derail careers. Politicians and public figures are acutely aware of the risks, which is why accusations and denials around Epstein's connections are so charged. That's why Comer's accusation is so potent, and why Jeffries' denial was so forceful. In today's hyper-partisan climate, even the suggestion of a link to Epstein can be weaponized, turning political debates into high-stakes battles over credibility and trust. The ongoing push to unseal Epstein's files is about more than curiosity. It's about justice and the principle that no one is above the law. These documents could reveal the extent of Epstein's network and potentially implicate others who have so far avoided scrutiny. For advocates and survivors, unsealing the files represents a chance to finally hold all responsible parties accountable. The mere association with Epstein's name is a stain that's hard to remove. It lingers in headlines, campaign ads, and public perception, casting a shadow over anyone even remotely connected to him. This context makes the current political battle especially explosive. With so much at stake, reputations, careers, and the public's trust in government, the fallout from any new revelations could be seismic, reshaping the political landscape for years to come. It's important to distinguish between two sets of Epstein-related documents now in play. First, there's the single document released by Comer's committee, which sparked the current feud. Second, the Epstein Files Transparency Act mandates the release of the DOJ's entire Epstein file, far more extensive and public. The committee's selective release allows Republicans to shape the narrative before the full context is available. Democrats argue this is irresponsible and urge waiting for the comprehensive release to avoid misleading the public. This distinction is central to understanding the political fight, selective leaks versus full transparency. The battle is as much about controlling the story as it is about the facts themselves. The fierce political maneuvering is driven by one thing: the public's demand for transparency. For years, the Epstein case has symbolized a two-tiered justice system, fueling anger and distrust. Victims and the public want to know who enabled Epstein and who may have participated in his crimes. The overwhelming bipartisan support for the Transparency Act reflects this demand for answers and accountability. Both parties want to be seen as champions of truth, knowing the public is watching closely. The coming release of Epstein's files is seen as a potential reckoning for the powerful. The Jeffries-Comer showdown is a microcosm of American politics in 2025, where even bipartisan issues become partisan battlegrounds. Comer and Republicans frame the document as proof of Democratic hypocrisy, aiming to control the narrative as the Epstein files are released. Jeffries and Democrats counter with accusations of bad faith and partisan smears, seeking to discredit the investigation itself. The public is left to sift through competing narratives, hoping for real answers. The promise of the Transparency Act was clarity, but the battle lines are already drawn. As the DOJ prepares to release the files, the real test will be whether truth can rise above the partisan noise. The outcome will reveal much about America's capacity for genuine accountability.